Hey YouTube, how you doing today? Man, it's going to be warm today. I looked out for a week and it's like 94, 96 every day. So we're getting close to the dog days of summer. I didn't realize that was an official time, but it comes up on the 22nd. So it's going to be hot. And to that end, I'm pretty pumped. Today I hope to get my water catchment system hooked up. I've got some reserve water for myself, but I needed more for my animals. And then, if the power went out for an extended period of time, for cleaning and what have you, I've lost power for as long as 5 days out here in the sticks. And just recently went without for 3 days. So, it's a very real possibility here. So I try to work a little bit of scripture to what I do. Water is a precious resource in the Middle East also. And a couple of Torah portions ago, we read how probably according to his will, Balaam prophesied in Numbers 24:7 the following prophecy. And he said, "He shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters. And his king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted." So I understand there's different levels of interpretation in Scripture. And to that end, I want to give John Holsey credit. Probably 5 years ago, he was talking about this, and I never looked it up till recently. But there's four levels, allegedly, of interpretation to Hebrew Scripture. And the first is and there's an acronym for this, and it's called PARDES, and I guess that's Pardes. I don't know if you pronounce that the Hebrew way or if that's an English acronym or whatever. And that is a compendium, it's an acronym of the four levels. And the first level is Peshat, Peshat, and that's the literal or surface. So meaning, and that's what I'm talking about here. The fathers promised Israel that in the future they're going to have just buckets of water, not going to be a problem anymore. The second level of interpretation is Remez, Remez, and that's the hidden or symbolic meaning. The third level is the Derash, Derash, and that's the comparative meaning given through similar occurrences. And the final level is called Sod, Sod, and that's the secret meaning given through inspiration or revelation. So check out those levels of interpretation. And once you start looking at Scripture that way, it can really take you a long time to digest, some of the Scripture, because you've got to look at it from 4 different angles, and you look at it like, wow, are there numbers? What do the numbers mean? So there's just a little, and I'm not talking about numerology, but there are certain numbers that pop up in Scripture all the time, 70, 12. So it's worth looking at. And another interesting thing concerning water is something Paul said in 1 Corinthians. And I've been reading about this a little bit lately. And this is 1 Corinthians 10:4. Paul says, "And did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was the Messiah." So he's talking on a spiritual level, on one of the last 3 levels of our interpretation, right? So, I understand that. But the fact is, he talks about this rock that followed, and that's Hebraic tradition, is a rock followed Israel around in the wilderness, in between the time they performed the Exodus, and then they got into the Holy Land. A rock followed them around, and that's what gave them their water. And I don't know how that worked, if Miriam sang a song, and if you're familiar with that, and that's what spurred the rock to yield its water, or what. And there's a second witness to this, and it's a first century source called Pseudo-Philos, Biblical Antiquities. And this is a quote here. It says, "But as for his own people, he led them forth into the wilderness. 40 years did he rain bread from heaven for them, and he brought them quails from the sea, and a well of water followed them." And I gotta say, I'm in the camp that believes that. And that kind of plays into what Yeshua, Jesus, says, and he says it several places. But John 4:14, I'll read that. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. So if that, if the rock thing isn't true, why, and Yeshua is referred to as a rock, all over the New Testament. The cornerstone and what have you. So if that's not true, why would he use that metaphor? Just something to ponder. So it's my intention to get this catchment system hooked up. So I guess I better get on it. So let's get with it. Okay, so here's the tank that we're going to hook up. It's a 1,050-gallon tank. I've had it forever, and it was white. So I power washed the inside and outside of it and painted it black. And then this is the new loafing rough that I made the video of prior. And we're going to put that guttering on there and have it drain into the tank. And in case you've never seen the new guttering, which I hadn't, as a matter of fact, I've never done guttering even when it was aluminum. I've got two of the gutters here. And they're not bad. They were like $7 or $8 a piece. But man, the pieces are expensive. Like these are the hangers. I've got 4 of these, and they were like everything. All the pieces are like $4 a piece. And here's the end cap, and the hangers, and the end cap, and the joiner. That is a rubber seal right there, and there's 3 of them. So then you just slide that in. Maybe you can see that. It just slides in, and it's a really tight fit. So I got the end cap. This is I guess this would be the female to join the 2 10 footers. And this is an end piece with the downspout, and the downspouts square now. I had a piece I was wanting to use on this, but it's the old style. So then this is the down piece that fits up into that last piece that I had. So I guess I'm going to shoot for an inch drop towards the tank in the guttering. So I guess I'll get these guys here up first. Then we'll take a look at it. Okay, so I got my hangers up. I don't know if you can see that chalk line, but I put there's only 1 screw in the hanger, so I used that chalk line to give me a 1-inch drop, probably about 1 1/4 inch over it's 19.5 feet. So these 4 are the hangers. Then this one here is the female union for the 2 troughs. So I'll get those in now. Yeah, I just wanted to point out that you don't have to start at the end and feed it through these arms. You can just stick it down in here, rotate it, and push down on the tray and pop it in, and they'll go in that way. So, I was wondering about that myself, so I thought you might be. All right, I'll put the rest of it up. Okay, I'm basically done. I'm gonna call it victory. I didn't discuss this 4-inch flexible drain tile. I got like 20 feet of it, and I just hacked about 5 feet of it off. So I hooked that up, and I use cable ties. You can see them here, and they come in back behind the fly rafter and then go to the rafter here. So the same thing here, cable tie. So pretty easy project.
But the rewards of it, you know, could be just magnificent. So you all have a good week, and study your Torah portion. See ya.